Coven with Go Done. We're an online community for entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurially minded. And I like to bring just about every week one of our fabulous community members to you to share their wisdom and their unique perspective on the topic of their choosing on their area of expertise. So today I'm bringing you Shlomit Tassa. She trained as an engineer and a product designer and worked in product innovation and strategy for 2 decades. She worked both in corporate and management consulting environments, enjoying long hours, endless PowerPoint presentations, and international travel. That is until it wasn't fun anymore. She went through burnout, then restructured her life using her accumulated creative problem-solving skills together with cutting-edge neuroscience. If you feel chronically stressed, I think there's probably no one who doesn't. She'd love to help you work on that as well. So that is why today she's bringing you 5 quick hacks to immediate calm. And I have had a sneak preview. Very excited about this. Very actionable, wonderful tips for you. I'm going to hand it over to Shlomit. And as she does her intro, I will pop in some ways to connect with Shlomit into the chat. And she also has a fabulous giveaway associated with this presentation. I will give you the link to that here at the beginning as well as at the end. And so with all of that, keep your eyes on the chat, but Shlomit, take it away.
Thank you very much, Heather. First of all, let me know, can you see my slides? I started sharing. Can you see them? Awesome. So as Heather said, overwhelm and stress management is a big topic. And today we're going to get a little taste of very actionable 5 hacks that I've found to give you the most in the moment benefits. For the A students amongst you, I want to tell you that you do not need to take notes because the giveaway, as Heather said, is a little PDF that I've prepared. It's fillable for the sustainably minded, and it also has a printable, if you'd like, cheat sheet at the end that will summarize everything that we're doing today. So no need to take notes, just listen. Now, first of all, how ya doing? Before we begin, I'd love for you to take a little piece of paper and on it, just write down how stressed or calm you feel right now on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being perfect, you know, my life is perfect right now, and 10 is I'm so stressed. Please just let's end this right now. So where are you? Write that number down. Okay. I hope everyone has a number between 1 and 10. And first I want to say that thinking that we should be at 1 all the time, that, you know, our life should be this like perfect, stress-free, super relaxed, absolutely no pressure at all is just completely unrealistic. And it's probably also unhealthy. There's interesting research about the benefits of having some stress. The point is that our bodies are actually hardwired to oscillate between stress and calm. So it's not like we're supposed to feel no stress at all. We're supposed to be able to go from stress to calm. And that is the problem with our modern life. That is something that doesn't happen as it should. So another important thing to realize is that there's a difference between stressors, which cause our stress, and the responses that happen in our body. So a stressor is often something that is out of our control, even though we can create stress ourselves. You know, we can stress ourselves out with our thoughts and with our worries, but most commonly when people experience stress, it's something that happens on the external environment, like traffic, you know, would be a classic example. But the stress response happens inside our bodies. So if I get angry when I'm in traffic, if my heart starts beating faster, if my hands get clammy, those are all part of the stress response, and they're a result of the hormones that our lizard brains still release in response to anything that we feel is a threat. You know, we're no longer in the savannah. There are no saber-toothed tigers running after us, but anything that our brain interprets as stress causes the release of those wonderful hormones. You must have heard of them, adrenaline and cortisol, and a whole myriad of other substances that basically prepare our bodies to fight, flight, or freeze. And those are would cause the stress in our bodies, but that means also that our bodies hold the key to returning to calm, which is what we're supposed to do. So what we're going to learn today is essentially how to use our bodies to become more aware of how we're feeling, and also how to reduce the bodily stress response. So first of all, just in terms of how it's supposed to happen, if we were still in the savannah, take a look at this little video. You see here, there's an impala. It chooses the freeze response here. It plays dead, okay? And the tiger is trying to attack it. And for some reason, I'm not really sure why, it leaves it alone. So after a while, after it deems itself safe enough, it sits, you see, and it starts essentially like shaking off the stress. It's quite a few minutes that it spends shaking, and then it just prances off and continues on its daily errands, whatever it's supposed to be doing that day. So this is what we theoretically should be doing every time that we're stressed, but we don't. And you'll notice, if you're wondering whether you're suffering from chronic stress or not, is that it's usually a feeling that has to do with time. Like you're feeling you never have enough time, you're running around, you have no minute to breathe, everything's crazy, everything's just kind of, you have to deal with everything all the time. And I want to say that when dealing with chronic stress, there's a lot to do with mindset and with time perception and boundaries, and essentially how you structure your life in order to avoid this, the external situation, or at least the parts of the that you can structure. But even as someone who has a life that's pretty well structured, there are, of course, always days that are very stressful. And if you're kind of on a higher stress level in general, the hacks that we're going to talk about are exactly the ones that are going to help you go from high stress level to the calm, or at least oscillate and not stay constantly in high stress, which is the important thing. I do want to say, though, that, when I talk about chronic stress, I'm talking about, kind of the normal modern day type of stress. I'm not talking about a healthcare worker in the middle of a COVID wave. I'm not talking about Ukrainian refugees. Those are major crisis situations. It's different. It's not, talking about like our stress, the ones that we've been dealing with and have become more difficult through COVID, with the blurring of the lines between work and home and school and caretaking, all those things that our general chronic stress level as a society has increased. But I'm still talking about what we still consider sort of normal modern life, not the most difficult situations that you can imagine. So the first thing that I'd like us to do together, and I'd love for you to do this with me, our first hack is first to just bring awareness to what is going on, in fact, with our bodies. We said the body holds the key. So first we have to see what's actually going on. So please do this with me. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Try to focus on what's actually going on inside your body. And first, just ask yourself, what do I feel in my body, and where exactly do I feel it? It might take a few seconds for you to kind of calm down a little bit and relax into it. But look for emotions like tightness or pain, or maybe some stomach discomfort, anything that you might be experiencing right now. I can tell you that I'm feeling very sort of mild pain in the left part of my lower back. So where are you feeling any sort of discomfort in your body right now? In addition to physical discomfort, you might also be feeling some emotion. You might be feeling that you're angry. You might be feeling worried. You might be feeling sad. So try and identify where you feel those emotions. Now, sometimes some people might find it a little difficult to assign words to the emotions that they're feeling, but they're still feeling something. So you can try, if that helps you, to assign a color, a temperature, or a texture to what you're feeling in a particular part of your body. So for example, you can say, I have a dark metallic feeling in my throat. I don't know where it's coming from, but it feels dark and cold, something like that. Now, just this scan, just doing this, really helps connect you to the body. And that in and of itself is a calming hack, a calming mechanism that you can do even when you have very little time. And even if you're sitting in a boardroom full of people, okay, you don't have to close your eyes, but you can do this as a calming technique. Second, our second hack is movement. Now, of course, you've heard about exercise and the importance of exercise to your health, cardiovascular health, and your mental health and all that. But a lot of new research shows that, in fact, it's the sedentary life, which is a problem. And you don't necessarily need to be, a competitive triathlete to be healthy. If you look at research into the blue zones, places on Earth where people live past 100 years in very good health, you see that they're not necessarily these, super athletes, but they're not sedentary. They garden, they walk around, they have a lifestyle that includes a lot of movement. And that is something that you can think of both sort of from an infrastructure type of approach to how to include more movement in your life in general as a means of just better health and less stress in general, like using a standing desk, being more aware of your body when you're doing your chores. This is actually based on fascinating research that was done with hotel cleaners. Half of them were told that cleaning is actually a form of exercise, and half of them weren't. And then 3 months later or something, the ones that were told that they are in fact exercising had increases in muscle mass, because they were just kind of doing it with more intent. As they were realized that pulling bed sheets and lifting heavy laundry and things like that were actually exercise. It created obvious bodily impact. So this is really cool. This is something that you can do whenever you're lifting groceries, lifting your kid up, whatever you're doing. If you realize that this is a form of beneficial movement to your body, it will help improve your health. One of my favorites, walking meetings, whether you're on the phone or whether you're physically with someone, just not sitting down. For me, it helps my thinking. So highly recommend that. But the important thing when you're stressed in the moment is not to be tight. Essentially, we want to do what the Impala did. We want to start moving. So I'd like to take the next few seconds to move together. Everyone who's on LinkedIn, we can't see you, so you can do whatever you want. But anything, just stretch, roll your shoulders, shake your body, do the Impala stuff, any sort of jumping around, standing up. I won't do this for the sake of the recording, but even just standing up next to your desk, taking a few serious jumps and then stretching and sitting back down, anything like that. It's incredible how quickly it helps you feel a little bit better. And the important thing here is to think small. 30 seconds, a minute, fidgeting even is better than sitting still. Even if you fidget, it's going to be better than no movement at all, because of the impact that it has on the body, because it helps release those hormones. Our next hack is something that I learned here. It's my favorite. And this, I don't know if anyone recognizes, these are the cabinet war rooms, or the Churchill war rooms in London, England. I visited them when I was 18. It's a really cool place. I recommend it. This is the part of the presentation, which is some travel advice. So when you're in London, don't miss out on the Churchill war rooms. This is under the Treasury building. Essentially, the entire British government had underground offices protected from the German shelling during the war. And that's where they headed the entire war effort. So one of the things that I learned there, which shocked me, was that Churchill didn't get enough sleep, obviously, through the war as he was leading this. And what they said there is that he was napping. And I thought that this is something that you had to be born with. And they said that he taught himself how to nap. And that's when I found out that catnapping was a learnable skill. I found it out from this man. And later I found out that other geniuses like Einstein and Dali and poet Robert Graves, a lot of people attributed their achievement to their napping abilities. So immediately I felt that whatever was good enough for Churchill and World War II had to be good enough for me. And I went on a big crusade to teach myself how to nap. The easiest thing to do is just to practice with an alarm. Just set yourself an alarm for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And it doesn't really matter if you actually fall asleep. The important thing is for you to rest and to basically have your brain change gears. Sometimes if I feel like I can't fall asleep because maybe I'm feeling jittery, then I just lie down with a book, and that also helps. But if you are trying to fall asleep, the 10, 15 minute, 20, 25 max comes from the fact that when you go into a sleep cycle, this is the light sleep at the beginning of your cycle before you go into deep sleep. If you go into deep sleep, if you sleep, an hour or something like that, that's when you wake up groggy. But if you sleep just the short portion at the beginning, which is light sleep, that's when you wake up really refreshed after a very short time. So the problem with an alarm is that if you actually have a little bit more time, it might be ringing too soon. Like maybe it took you 5 minutes or 8 minutes to actually fall asleep. And before you could complete your 10 minutes of light sleep, the alarm wakes you up. And it's disappointing. I've done that. It's kind of annoying. But I just fell asleep. I needed those few more minutes. So this is an amazing trick that I found, which allows you to very naturally find your own rhythm. So the trick is to sit in a chair, an armchair or sofa, or be seated, but in a way that still allows you to sleep. I've tried that, by the way, also sleeping, but with my arm outside the bed. Hold your arm out so that your hand is positioned over the floor, not over the bed or the armchair. Hold a spoon or a key in your hand. And the cool thing is once you start dozing off, at the beginning, you're still going to be holding that metallic object. But as you switch into the deeper sleep, your hand will relax. And those keys or that spoon will drop to the floor and wake you up at exactly the right moment. So this is a super cool way to train yourself to sleep exactly the amount of time that your own body takes to go from light sleep to deep sleep. That's the time that you want to nap. That's the perfect length. Now, napping is just wonderful. It's really helpful, or resting, but as someone who does succeed to nap, I have to admit it's amazing. And I have to share another secret hack that I've stumbled upon by mistake when I was very, very tired. And then I realized that it was like all the rage a few years ago, and that's the caffeine nap. So the reason that a nap helps us feel more refreshed is that it reduces adenosine. That's a molecule that makes us sleepy. And that's also the reason that caffeine makes us feel more refreshed. So it also reduces adenosine. So if you drink coffee or tea or green tea right before you take your nap, you have a double effect. You have a double whammy. Both the rest or the nap and the caffeine will work on lowering your adenosine. So it will lower more. So you will feel more refreshed. The important things here are to drink your coffee quickly. So when you make it, don't make it scalding hot, make it lukewarm enough so you can drink it quickly, because if you drink it over a long period of time, you will eat into the time that it metabolizes, and then sleep or rest for 15 to 30 minutes. At the end of that time, the caffeine should be metabolized fully, and the adenosine would be reduced from your nap. Now, I've been asked by friends who are not caffeine drinkers in any way, what can be done instead? And I found out and tested using zinc supplements instead of caffeine. Zinc also has an adenosine reducing effect. I have taken high dosages. Don't tell my doctor. I've taken double the amount that's recommended on the bottle. It worked really well. I am not a doctor. I do not play one on the internet. And if you want to do that, maybe check with someone who knows what they're doing before doing double doses or anything. But anything within the recommended daily dose, I'm sure you can just try. Our next hack, we talked about closing off the stress cycle. So obviously moving is what we talked about, our little Impala. But there are other ways that help us reduce our stress hormones, spending time in nature, connecting with our pets. It's called fur therapy, I found. Doing any sort of creative expression is really, really useful. Journaling, dancing, singing, all those things help us manage our emotions, manage our stress. Crying is phenomenal. You see this with children. You can see a child cry their heart out and then just stop at some point after they've finished crying. And then they're as good as new. We adults don't feel comfortable doing that. And that is a shame because crying is very, very useful as a stress reduction method. So I recommend it. But the more appropriate socially and easily performed is smiling and laughing, ideally together with other people. So if you're feeling stressed and you have the opportunity to be humorous about it, especially if you're with friends, that is a wonderful way to lower those hormones. It's easy and it works. What I've done is, and I really recommend it, is create a list of go-to videos, cartoons, anything that makes you laugh. The PDF that you can download has links to my favorite TED Talk by, what's his first name? Is it James Feach? I forget, but hilarious. If you don't know anything else, just watch those videos. It's a TED Talk, so you'll be educating yourself. And it's like you're given that tip that to have a running file of compliments and recommendations that you get through your career and that you can look into when you're feeling down. So do that. It's a good advice and it's always useful when you need testimonials and references, but also have a running file of things that can cheer you up when you're feeling unwell. Lastly, I'm sure you're wondering, what about breathing? Everybody talks about breathing techniques. How have we gotten to hack number 4 and not talked about breathing? So I'm sure, definitely if you do yoga or meditation, all about breathing, and you've probably heard of the Navy SEALs, box breathing, the 4x4, the 3-7-8, and all these fantastic methods for deep breath. The important thing is to breathe deeply, because one of the things that happen to us when we're in a stress response is that we have shallow chest breath, and we want to encourage deeper cyclical breathing. So in order not to bore you, I wanted to share something that's a little newer. The breathing technique itself is as old as mammals, probably, but the research around it is newer. The Professor Andrew Huberman, and if you're a science geek, you should follow him. He's like growing in popularity. He has a very, very long and detailed podcast where he shares all things sciencey, and he focuses a lot on stress reduction. He recently shared that this particular technique is the one that's proven to provide the most relief in real time. And it's called the psychological sigh. And you've seen people do it. If you have a dog, you've probably seen your dog do it. You've done it yourself as a child, and you're not using it today, most likely. And if you've ever seen a child cry really hard, did you ever see them do like a double inhale where they do and then continue breathing? So it turns out that the double is actually a great way to fully inflate the little nodules in our lungs. And that increases dramatically the oxygen intake. And as a result, reduces our stress hormones. So again, this is something that we can try together. Let's do this. So first, inhale deeply through your nose. Then, without letting the air out, inhale again. The second inhale might be shorter or longer. I usually find that it's shorter. So, and then exhale as slowly as you can. Let's do this again. This time I won't be talking. I do this in traffic all the time. It's very, very useful. Traffic is my saber-tooth line, if you haven't figured it out by now. So After we've done all of these, let's do a little checkup. Find that piece of paper that we started out with and concentrate for a second or two and write down again how stressed or calm you're feeling right now on that scale of 1 to 10, 1 being perfect, 10 being not at all. Where are you? 1 to 10. Is there any improvement? I'd love for you to write. Heather, can you look in the chat if they write better, worse, or same? Will you be able to see it?
Yes, I am monitoring the chat, and I will tell you right now, mine improved. I gave myself a 2-point improvement. I need that nap. I desperately need that nap. That'll take me back down to maybe not 1, but I'll say 2 or so.
2 points is great.
Ralph says he went from a 7 to a 5.
Nice.
Oh.
What about others? Better, worse, same? Worse is worrisome. It's the same or better than we're
only good. Yours is permitted to go up because you're presenting.
That's right.
Yep, I see. Robin says better. Breathing exercise was a big one for her. And Glenn says he came in a little bit late, so he probably didn't get to write down the number, but he says now I am calm. So
good.
Science in action.
Exactly.
6 to a 3 for Lily Lee. Woohoo!
Oh wow!
Lily's winning. She's got the most points. Down by 3 from Andrew. So Lily and Andrew, they're your star pupils.
Excellent. So just to sum up, you can even in the most stressful day, you can find a little bit of time to recenter, to reconnect to your body, to remember that connection to your body and releasing stresses in your body. And therefore, it's something that you can do without solving the external stressors, without changing jobs, without solving whatever it is, traffic that's bothering you right now. You can use your body to improve how you're feeling. So our hacks were the body scan, moving, napping, smiling or laughing, and the excellent physiological sigh. And like we said at the beginning, there's that downloadable PDF that you can get at the end. And the cheat sheet offers you 30-second, 2-minute, 7-minute, and 15-minute combinations. So depending on how much time you have, you can tailor that break so that it's effective for you. One last bonus tip is that I actually use reminders for my breaks because I tend to forget to take breaks if it's a very stressful day, if I have too much stuff to do. I did find out that using daily reminders on my calendar cluttered it. So what I do, and I recommend it, is to use 2 calendars. So I use one calendar for my meetings and for, the big blocks. And then another one just has my daily reminders. I personally use Google for the big stuff and my iPhone's iCalendar for the little stuff. But I think there's a reminder app on the iPhone, and I'm sure Android and, other apps and other solutions are available. But until it becomes an ingrained habit, it's very, very helpful to use reminders and make sure that you do get that opportunity to have that little but very important break.
We have a couple of quick questions for our last 2 minutes, if that's all right. And I have put the link to the giveaway in all of the chats. And that last page with the cheat sheet on it is invaluable for putting together just the right time, looking at how much time you have and putting together the combos. So, so one of the questions was, if I had just to pick one, where would I start?
Just the body scan or the breath. Yeah. If you have just one, yeah. I mean, sometimes you can't do the scan. Again, I go back to my traffic example, but a lot of times when you're in the moment and you're stressed and you're not in a position to do something that involves deeper awareness, the sigh is very, very effective immediately. And then if you are able to take yourself out of the situation, maybe go to the bathroom or close the door, then the body scan is very, very useful and it's fast.
Nice. And physiological side just is once good enough?
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. And then Glenn wanted a quick replay on how zinc is a help.
Zinc also reduces adenosine. So napping and caffeine reduce adenosine. And zinc just combines with it, I think, and then it creates a different compound. And so the adenosine is no longer available to tell the brain that it wants to sleep.
So it's connected with the nap.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pre-nap.
The zinc. The zinc is for someone who doesn't drink caffeine. The zinc is a good replacement to do a double whammy on the nap.
Fabulous. Fabulous. All right. Well, thank you, Shlomit. I so appreciate this presentation. Again, folks, grab that giveaway to have that little cheat sheet and get those reminders in your phone. Stress is real. Chronic stress is real. And here's something we can do about it in any old moment. So thank you so much. And I hope you're able to join us next week for Jonathan Bailey Strong on how to automate everything. And once you've automated everything, you have time, extra time for that, for those naps. All right, everyone.
Exactly.
Thank you.